Hello, this is Dr. Bill Rawls. I'd like to tell you about some natural solutions for IBS, Irritable Bowel Syndrome. This one's been around a long time, but it is part of our modern culture. I don't think it existed 100 years ago or before that because it has so much to do with what we're eating and chronic stress that has become so much a part of our world. And those two things really affect bowel function more than anything else. So typically it's not an isolated problem. Most people with IBS are going to have reflux and other digestive problems and leaky gut and other kinds of things along the way. But technically what IBS is an overgrowth of bad bacteria in the colon, the distal bowel, and that produces toxins from the dying bacteria from this overgrowth that irritates the colon. And so you have some people have more constipation, some people have more diarrhea, but a lot of people have both. And the reason is because when you look at these causes, this oppressive stress, that slows down the bowel. And then the foods that we're eating are carbohydrate loaded. We're eating a lot of foods that are loaded with carbohydrates from grains and beans, and also loaded with other things that disrupt gastrointestinal function. So we're not digesting those things properly. And basically what we do is we end up feeding bad bacteria in our colon with all this bad food that we're eating. And then the stress slows everything down so it gets backed up. So the colon basically stops. So you don't evacuate. And so you end up with constipation. But the bacteria keep building up. So so everything is stopped, it's getting impacted, it gets backed up. You're growing all these bacteria inside. And sooner or later that damages the wall of the colon. So water floods into the colon and you get this big flush with loose stools, and that goes on for a good while until the gut starts healing itself, and then the whole process starts over again. So it's irritable bowel syndrome is classified as alternating constipation with loose stools. Some people do more of one and then the other. Chronic gas, chronic bloating, and chronic dysfunction because everything is backed up. So it's the foods we're eating, it's the stress that we're under, and that's the big solution for this problem is you got to change what you're eating. You got to get away from a carb-load, grain-based diet. You have to stop feeding the bacteria in your gut. That's number one. You've got to change the way you're going about life. Becoming more mindful about eating, becoming more mindful about how you go about life so you're extracting more joy from life instead of just being driven from one thing to the next thing to the next thing. Getting plenty of sleep at night so that so you're allowing time for your body to rest so it can work properly. All of these things are really, really important for restoring normal. But that can take a while. So there are some natural things that you can do to help with the process along the way. First off is digesting your food better. So digestive enzymes, taking digestive enzymes can really be helpful in digesting the food so you're not feeding those bad bacteria as much. You're absorbing those carbohydrates better. So you got to start eating the carbs, but you also got to improve digestion. A lot of people take a probiotic. I found that it's kind of a hit or miss thing. Sometimes a probiotic does help. It helps restore some of the balance. But a lot of times it's really just a drop in the bucket. It's not enough microbes to really make a difference to overcome the kind of dysbiosis or dysfunction of the bacteria, this overgrowth. It's just not enough. I found that the herbs actually work a little bit better than the probiotics. Now trying a probiotic, I think that's a great idea. Again, some people it works for, it does help some. A lot of people it doesn't make any difference. Berberine containing herbs, golden seal, is one top of the list. Just berberine itself helps reduce the bacteria counts and helps restore the normal balance in the colon. So that one is really important. Other herbs like antigraphis and cat's claw can also be good. There are many other herbs that have a similar property. So herbal therapy can be very good for restoring normal. As you're improving your diet, as you're reducing your stress, these things can help promote healing. Now, if you've got the constipation, helping that out, it can make your life better. Sometimes that you got to bring in the big guns. Sometimes it does take enemas. Sometimes it does take a trip to the doctor's office. Sometimes it does take some pretty heavy laxatives like bottles of magnesium citrate or other kinds of things. As far as resolving really bad constipation, checking in with your doctor, I think, is a good idea, especially if you've got some really severe symptoms. But I think the magnesium-based laxatives tend to be better than some of the other things that contain a natural substance called Senna. When you see most of your over-the-counter pill laxatives are made of Senna. And Senna actually damages the colon and has that same effect of damaging the colon and causing it to flood with fluid, so it flushes it out. Occasionally that can work and it can be okay, but if you're in the habit of using that regularly, you can become dependent on the laxative and it can really cause damage to your colon, so it's not a good idea. Good old milk of magnesia from the drugstore is pretty good, but you don't want to be on anything continually long term. So restoring normal function, having good bowel habits, making sure that you don't get backed up too much is really important, because once you get impacted, that's going to be a lot harder problem to solve. What your stools are doing is really important. This is kind of a gross topic to talk about, but you should have a nice brown form stool once a day. And if it's hard and you're having to force it out, then that's not good enough. Then you need to use some help with that. Fiber, but vegetable fiber is the best. Fruit fiber is really good also. Grain fiber like raisin bran and things like that is really, really bad for your gut. That just doesn't work as well. So I suggest staying away from those kinds of cereal grains that are high fiber. They tend to make the problem worse. Loose stools, that will gradually correct itself, but also protecting the gut. And there's a substance called slippery elm that is a natural herbal supplement that contains something called mucilage that protects the gut. And that's really, really helpful for protecting the lining, restoring normal balance, restoring the normal lining of the colon. So those are some just helpful tidbits to get you going in the right direction. If you'd like to know more, check out my website, rawlsmd.com. Aside from that, that can connect you with some really nice gut programs that we have, and some suggestions on products that can help you get going in the right direction. Sign up for our newsletter. We've always got good information about gut health that can help you move toward gut wellness. Thanks for watching my video. I hope you found it helpful. Be sure and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any upcoming videos. And while you're at it, please take the time to leave me a comment. I would really like to know of any questions that you might want answered in future videos. Thanks for watching.